to give you a little bit of advice about gardening in small spaces. I remember when I was a student and I really liked gardening and I liked being able to connect with nature, but I was living in dorms and small apartments and places without yards. And so I had to find a way to be able to have my herb garden and still do that in a manageable way. And herbs are a really nice way to get into gardening too, because they are so easy to care for. They thrive on very little maintenance, and you can also use them for things so you feel somewhat productive in your gardening. So container gardening is very similar to gardening in the ground, but you do have to be aware of choosing the right plants, choosing the right containers, and then putting them in the right places. One of the best ways to start an herb garden is to actually do a planter box with a couple of different herbs in it, especially if it's your first time out. One of the easiest containers to deal with are the long rectangular ones. Pick one that is about 8 inches deep. They come in 12-inch lengths and 18-inch lengths. It sort of depends on how many herbs you want to grow. You're also going to need a large bag of potting soil. Again, depending on how many containers you're dealing with, you need that much soil. But you want to make sure you have enough because it compacts very easily. Of course, you're also going to need your plants. And unless you want to start from seed, I recommend buying some small plants, which you can usually get for $2 to $4 each, especially in the late spring. Two good beginner herbs are basil and mint. Rosemary is also pretty responsive to new gardeners as well. And they all grow quickly, so you can see the fruits of your labor. The first thing you want to do is take your planter box and you're going to fill it about halfway up with your potting soil. Rake it around so you get a nice flat surface and it's evenly distributed throughout the box. Each plant is going to come in a small container. I really like the ones that have the peat containers that you can just plant right in the ground, but sometimes they come in plastic containers, and that's fine too.
What's
Peat is an organic mixture that they sort of make a paper out of to make a container.
a round thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you want to take, once you've filled your pot with halfway up with the soil, set your plant in the planter, in its container, in your planting box, just to measure height. You want the top of the plant's container that it comes in to be about 2 inches below the rim of the pot you're putting it in. Once you've got that, you might need to add a little potting soil or dig around in it. Then if you're using the peat pots, then you're going to take off the plastic wrapping and tear off the bottom of the peat pot so that the roots are going to be able to get right into the soil as quickly as they can. Set the plant, roots first, obviously, onto the potting soil where you want it, and repeat with the rest of your plants until you run out of container space or run out of plants, whichever comes first. Then you're going to take the extra potting soil and fill in the blanks, so the spaces between the plants. You want to be able to fill it up even beyond the rim of its own soil, so that the soil it came in should be completely covered by your new potting soil, which is rich in nutrients.
You said it should go up above the plant's
Mm-hmm.
soil.
Mm-hmm. Be sure to check under the leaves and between the plants to make sure you filled in all the gaps. And then brush off the leaves so they don't have soil and fertilizer or whatever nutrients are in your potting soil, which can actually burn them. Finally, you're going to give your new container a good drink of water. Be careful not to displace the new soil that's in there. And find a warm, sunny place for them to sit and wait to watch your plants grow.